everybody, and welcome to the Green Witch Homestead. So I am going to apologize ahead of time. It is very windy out today, so it's been very difficult to film. But I wanted to do an update on the next step for the Victory Garden. So on my TikTok, I talked about how I found a plan that I really liked. The reason I liked this particular Victory Garden setup is because the measurements are divisible by 10. So you can make it any size that you want really easily. The original plan calls for 50 feet wide by 100 feet long. We're gonna actually half that here because there's only 2 of us. So you can half it, you can go the full size if you want, or you can quarter it, shrink it down to whatever size you want pretty easily. It's just gonna change the number of plants that you need in each row. The most important part about doing your Victory Garden is finding your location. Now you want to make sure that wherever you're gonna put your garden, it's got at least 10 hours of full sun every day in the summertime. It's going to be different in the winter. Traditionally, it is an in-ground garden. You can do it in raised beds if you want. You don't have to follow these instructions along exactly, but I'm doing an in-ground garden. If you follow our channel, you may remember what's behind me here. This section here along where the wall for the basement was, this is where we had the pigs for a little while, and then this here was where our rabbits were. We have moved our rabbits over to the other side. My main garden is right there. You can see the road, and the road goes all the way along here. We're gonna clear this fence line a bit more and expose this spot here to more sun, kind of like the garden on this side. And this is gonna be where I put my Victory Garden. There's a lot of work to be done. But the main reason that we chose this spot is, one, it's right across the sidewalk from our main garden, so it's still accessible to the road. We do still plan on having this area as a kind of customer attraction garden. So to have the Victory Garden up somewhere where it can be on display is eventually going to be an end goal for me. I'm going to have some pretty little signs made, a bunch of different things to go with it. That right there is one of our collection tanks. We have our well access right here. Our well is way over there, but this is one of the access points for the hose plugs in to reach the gardens and stuff. So that's right there, which makes it convenient. And on the other side of my water collector is where I'm going to eventually put my greenhouse. So that's the biggest reasons why we chose this spot. The other reason why we chose this spot is because our rabbits have done a lot of the work for us already. We've talked a lot about how this property, being an old school, had a lot of fill on it. So the soil is horrible. There's not a lot that grows in it other than weeds. One of the things that we've done over time on this property to help amend that is to use our farm animals. Using the chickens to make compost, using the pigs to till up and get rid of the weeds in the field in sections like that. And this spot here, my rabbits have been for, I think, about 6 years now. So we have 6 years worth of rabbit manure that has built up on the ground here. And right now it's got a nice covering of leaves, which I'm just gonna leave because they are nature's mulch. These trees are gonna come down. This framework is gonna move. These older cages are gonna get repaired and moved over into storage because we don't need them right now for the rabbits. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of things that are gonna need to be cleared out of this space. I've been letting the chickens come in here and scratch through to kind of spread the rabbit manure and get it turned a bit more, which is eliminating a lot of steps for us to have to do. Anytime you can use your farm animals to get some of the work done for you, I highly recommend it. It's not something that's going to happen in an hour. It takes a couple days, but it's nice. It's kind of one of those set it and forget it type methods. So we just let the chickens free range for the last couple weeks, and they've spread this area out pretty well. So we're going to be coming in over the next couple weeks, like I said, taking these trees down, getting this area cleaned up, getting it spread more evenly, and getting a tarp laid down over top of it. And that's pretty much what we're doing at this stage. For those of you that are following along, at this point in time, I know it's winter time and it's not really time to grow, but it is planting season. So that's what we're doing, that's what we're sharing, and that means it's time really for you. If you're gonna be jumping in on this project, now is the time to pick your spot. Get out where you wanna grow, keep an eye on it, watch it periodically throughout the day, make sure that it's getting a good amount of sun. Is it getting good drainage? Check all those things. With winter coming on, there's not a lot that you can get in the ground right now, but this is the time where you're going to be starting to source your seeds. You're going to be starting to source any soil amendments that you may need to purchase, or start making a compost pile for you to use come spring. this is the time where you want to get everything ready so that when it's time to plant, you have all of the things that you need. You're going to want to find your spot, and you're going to want to measure out however you want it. The plan that we're using is 50 by 100. I'm halving that, so I'm doing 25 by 50. You can do that any size that you want in that division. It's just going to change the number of plants that you use for each row. The important thing to remember when setting out your spacing is that your garden, for a victory garden, to get the rows and spacing correctly, it needs to be twice as long as it is wide. And you want to make sure that when you're running your rows, they're going to be running lengthwise down. The rows are going to be running across the shorter distance. So when you're laying it out, you want to make sure that your rows are going to be running east to west. So your longer distance will be running from north to south, and your shorter distance will be running from east to west, because your rows will be running east to west. Now the reason why that's important is because the sun moves east to west. Putting your rows that way is going to prevent any shadowing from taller plants onto shorter plants. So those are the biggest things to remember, is getting your garden set, making sure that your rows are going to run east to west, making sure that it gets a good amount of sun, and that it's got adequate soil. And if it doesn't have adequate soil in the spot that you're looking for, now is the time to start figuring out what kind of amendments you want to do. If you're going to till it up and add compost to it, or if you're going to just layer on mulch and go from there. There's so many different options that you can do. That is pretty much step one, finding your space, measuring it out, and getting it laid out properly. Once you have your space found and laid out how you want it, I do recommend getting some type of stake or corner markers and maybe tying a string to those to make sure you're nice and straight and to make sure you don't forget where your garden is going to be going. Then at that point, this time of year, one of the easiest things to do so you don't have to try and till it is to go and get some type of cardboard or heavy covering like a silage tarp. You can buy old billboard tarps, but basically something dark and heavy that you can lay down over that space to kill any grass and weeds that are already there. Now with the silage tarps, you don't have to leave it on for more than a couple weeks, but I like going the cardboard route, basically just leaving it on all winter long, and that's just going to rot down in. That's it for the garden aspect right now. I'm going to go inside and pull up a list of the plants that you grow in a victory garden so we can start talking about the seeds. I figured it'd actually be easier for your benefit if I just put a whole typed out list in the description of this video. I'll have a list of all of the different plants that are going to be in the victory garden so that you can start sourcing seeds, because that's the most important thing about this. Now, I'm not saying that you have to start all of your plants from seeds. You can, if you want, purchase starts come spring from a local nursery, but I do recommend trying, because the point of doing this victory garden is teaching you guys how to grow food without relying on going to a store, and that includes buying your plants. So yes, most of us will have to purchase seeds at this point in time, but again, something that we're going to delve into at the end of this series, because we don't have any plants right now, is how to harvest seeds from those plants so that you don't have to buy them again. So hopefully you guys will go the seed route, and I will walk you through as the winter progresses how to start those seeds successfully and get good germination rate so that you have plants to put into your victory garden come spring. But again, I'm not judging anybody, and if you're not comfortable doing that, you are more than welcome to just purchase your plants from a local nursery. I do recommend going to a local nursery though, and kind of staying away from the big box stores. You're just going to get healthier plants if you go that route. The list of seeds will be in the description below, as well as a link to a couple sites that I found that sell full victory garden seed kits. The seed kits were a little pricey, so I don't recommend them, but it may be easier for some to just purchase it all in one go than to try and find each individual packet. But that's it for us here today. We got some work to do on this space. We are going to be doing that over the next couple of days. There are a lot of things going on in the homestead right now, so it is going to be a slow process. It's not a one-day project at this point in time to get this space ready for us. Hopefully you guys have a space that's a little bit more ready to be planted in, but we will show progress as we're going. The longest thing in here is going to be removing the trees. Fortunately, it's winter and we're wood heat, so it's just going to be extra firewood for us. So I will continue to show progress reports on the spot that we're doing, and I hope you guys are following along. If you have any questions about step one and what you need to do, or any tools that you may need, please leave a comment below. I hope you guys are following along, and I'm so excited to be growing this victory garden with you. Thanks so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, please do so and hit the bell to get notifications so you can follow along with this victory garden series. give us a thumbs up to let us know that you care. And remember, guys, get your hands dirty.